So if you're an attacker or a winger and you want to improve, it's always good with some tips. But what's even better is to get tips from the actual pros. So in today's video, we have 30 attacker winger tips in 30 minutes from 8 different pro players. So watch and learn.
All right, we want to discuss attacking. You're an excellent dribbler of the ball. You don't do so many skills, and players want to understand how you're doing this. So when you get the ball and you're getting ready to go one-on-one, what are you thinking about?
I'm thinking about going fast.
Okay.
Fast, and either if I go right or left depends a bit as well where you are, how you are positioned,
all right,
and in which side of the pitch I am as well,
sure,
of course.
Sure. So do you look mainly, let's say we're almost near the goal, like we are here, and you're getting ready to cut in. Are you thinking about your shot mainly? Are you thinking, how do I set up to score?
No. How do I get a centimeter away from this guy that will allow me to shoot? But I'm not thinking about the kind of shot. So I'm not like Arjen Robben.
Where you know.
He was cutting inside, he could not stop. So that's not the case. Okay. So every centimeter I can get away from you, then I will put it how I can strike it, but in the direction of the goal. For 10 years I was a midfielder. So a number 6 to 8, and I was the number 8 of the left side. Sure. Where you start developing your left foot even without you noticing it. and I always had that ability to carry the ball with me until to find a third, to find a pass. I was never good enough, strong enough to kick it from outside of the box, so I needed always to find or make a 1-2 into the box, which I still like a lot. That's how I start developing that.
Well, what advice would you give to all of these young players out there? Now, some guys are going to talk about their mental strength, the technical ability, how they knew where they wanted to go. What's most important for you if you're a kid watching this, trying to move up?
Mentally.
Okay.
I think. I played with a lot of players, a lot of them with far more quality than me, for sure. I think you need to have your mind in the right spot, and you know what you need to do, be effective on whatever you do, whether it's defending, midfield, attacking, and obviously you need to train. If you're finishing, you need to train your finish, get better. If you're defending, watch how the big defenders defend, how they adapt, because sometimes you need to look at a player that is similar to you in a way. So if you're not fast enough, you need to maybe look at a player that is not really fast, or it's in an older age, and how is he doing it now? Yes. And try to copy.
Maybe final question. What's your favorite food?
I like seafood linguine.
Seafood linguine. Are you making it? Can you cook?
No.
Okay. I don't know if it counts then.
One time I did a very good paella though.
One time.
But anyways, what I've noticed is that you make a lot of runs in the box.
I do, yeah.
And they're often pretty dangerous runs. You don't always get the ball, but that can be improved. But I wanted to pick your brains on what do you think when you run into the box? How do you decide if you go to the near post or the far post, if you make that little fake run and go back? Do you have any ground rules, tips you can share?
So I try to always stay behind the defender, because then he doesn't have the feeling of you, he can't see you, so he needs to scan all the time. And the moment he is not looking, I'm always trying to find a position where I can be most dangerous. And then it's for me and my teammates to understand each other's game and try to really get that internal understanding of where to put it. And that's, you can see now that we're starting to connect even better since I've been here now for a little bit. We're improving day by day.
So it's not like there's one rule that say when the ball is on the goal line and you're coming from here that you always try to go first post? Is that more that, internal understanding?
That's, again, back to the internal understanding. So, for example, it changes with different players. When you play with Christian or when you play with Bruno, or if you play with Højbjerg from the national team, it's different from player to the player. For example, Christian and Bruno, they have probably the best position in the entire world. So you can more or less position yourself wherever you want. Whereas when you play with maybe if it's centre back who has the ball, he's probably not going to see you from anywhere. So you gotta try to look at how they are as a football player as well, and be in that position.
Right. So what would you say? You mentioned being behind the defender, out of their vision. Is that key in determining? Let's say I'm here, I'm the defender. The ball is coming in from there. What would you do to take the best position?
I'm always gonna start here. Let's say the right fullback is there, so I'm always gonna just stay behind you. And when I can see that now is the time for the pass, I maybe do. If I wanted it in the front, I'm gonna pull you this way, and then I'm gonna move this way.
Right.
Or the other way, if the guy is probably getting very close to the right back, for example, and he can only play it for the second post, I'm moving forward.
Yeah.
And then I may go behind.
Right. Little push and then go behind.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then it can also be because I'm a fast player, so sometimes I will just run very fast towards the first post because that's the only chance. I don't have time to go and do the small movements. Then I will just try to pull myself, and if the defender is there, then you throw yourself.
Yeah, and it's basically just about bulldozing into the ball and just getting it on target, right?
So if you have the time, it's important to do the movement. That's what makes you the better striker. The best strikers are doing that from previously Ronaldo, and now you can see Haaland, for example, is doing it as well.
So basically what I'm hearing is that you anticipate a lot when you run into the box, that you don't just decide to go for the near post and then hope that the ball is coming.
Oh, there's a lot of thinking.
Exactly, and you run, you anticipate, and then when you see that, let's say the winger beats his man, that's when you make your move, right?
Yeah, you can put it that way. I'm not going to run in if I can see the guy is looking down and not looking up.
Sure.
Because the chance of him doing a cross is not that high. So you gotta get that internal connection, which I talked about before, and make some adjustments outside the pitch. Look at video. I've done a lot of work from a previous clubs where I've come from, and I've still a lot to do. But these are my tips.
And what about the finish then? When you're in the box, you've actually broken free from the defender. I mean, you're a great natural finisher, but ball comes in. Often it's pretty hard at Premier League level, and you're running forward. I mean, do you just
most of the time, I don't think too much about it. I just try to get that clean connection. It's just about getting in there and getting in front of the defender, get the touch, and most of the time it's going to go in. Of course, there's some practice, but I think if you just do the practice and training and you keep working on your finishing, then it's going to come naturally for you, so you don't have to think too much. I like to say that if I think too much about my finishing as well, most of the times I'm not going to score because I've overthought it. So yeah.
But that's actually, sadly, that's the truth. I mean, it's not a great tip. Don't think that's what the best strikers do, right? It just comes natural to you. I mean.
Yeah. So I think it's just about the instinct, of course, but just be ruthless. It's also be calm, because when you're calm in your finish, most of the time you're gonna be more clear in your thoughts, and you can just put it wherever you think is the right place to put it.
Absolutely, guys. So go out there with your teammates and just work on it. And then work some more. And then work again. That's the key word here. Anticipate, look up, think, and then just slot it home.
You are a very, very young professional football player. Can you please just explain how the life is?
Oh, obviously as a young boy, all I've ever wanted to do is play football, and to be playing football with my friends and everyone around me, it's a very good feeling.
And learning is exactly what we're going to do today, because you're going to teach our audience a few tips and tricks on how to score more goals and how to be an efficient striker.
Perfect.
All right, so do you have any specific tips on what young players should think about to reach your level?
I think the best thing is kind of being relaxed, but just kind of picking your spot in the goal and going for that. I think if you're relaxed, then you're not really having too much pressure on yourself. So if you pick a spot and you trust yourself to put it there, and you practice it on a regular basis, then you should trust yourself to put it in that spot.
Do you have any specifics in terms of playing style, in terms of movement or striking or?
Yeah, I think one that's talked about a lot is when you come across from an outside position. I think hitting it low across the box is a good choice, because you can get it down to the keeper, and it's hard for the keeper to jump down, and if he does save it, he can then parry it, and hopefully another striker's there to pick it up.
Would you go near corner or far corner?
Far corner, yeah.
Far corner.
I think it's more chance of getting it low and scoring, and then if you don't score and the keeper saves it, then he's got a big chance of parrying it to one of your teammates.
Yeah, exactly, like a rebound, something like that. Yeah. No, that's a good thing, but maybe don't reveal too many tricks, because you never know who's watching, and there might be an opponent there watching. So what about when it comes to like touch technique? Is there anything there that you want to share with the audience?
I think you just have to be aware of your surroundings. You see the best players, and they're constantly scanning for the opposition, and just to keep your first touch away from the opposition and kind of put some disguise on your touch as well, it really falls and tricks the defenders.
So when you say be aware of your surroundings, do you think like before the ball comes in, you have a little quick scout?
Constantly checking, just to see how close the defender is, because if he's too tight, maybe you can roll him. If he's a bit far off, you can afford to take a touch and then get out.
And I mean, as a striker, you need to have that vision. But I mean, when it comes to like defending, do you do that a lot? Like, do you feel like that is an important thing when it comes to your playing style?
I think as a team, everyone defends and the striker kind of sets it off. So obviously we work a lot on the press, and it comes from the striker, and he initiates the first press. So it is kind of very important to know which way is and what I suppose the manager wants you to do.
All right, so if you're coming in from the side, from the flank, like how would you rather cross it? Would you go in, or would you shoot straight from outside the box?
Yeah, I think it depends on how kind of inside the pitch you are. I think if you're 1v1 with a defender in around the 18-yard box, you can kind of get 1v1 against them, and kind of if you're like me, I'm right-footed, and if I'm coming down the left, I think kind of wait for the defender to kind of jump in and then move it, and then gives me that little yard to then shoot, and I'd probably go for the far post because it's most difficult for the keeper.
For example, if I'm a defender, right? So what skill move would you usually do against me, if you're cutting in, for example?
Maybe just a simple like shoulder drop. You fake to go one way and then come in one way, and it just frees you up that extra yard to then create space for a shot.
Do you feel that get ever played out? The same move, or is it like do you think that defenders would fall for that until the end of time?
No, obviously I think everyone analyses the players they play against before the game, but if you then mix it up and maybe do two inside and one outside, then it can confuse the defender, so then he won't know which way you're going.
So it's just a classic shoulder drop, cut in, far corner.
Yeah.
And then if the goalkeeper takes it, then I'm there.
Yeah, you're there.
So looking back when you were a kid, you grew up playing on all these muddy, rough pitches, right? What did you learn back then? Which skill or attribute did you learn that you still do?
Yeah, I can say just in an easy way, when you play in a bad pitch, when you get a good pitch, it's easy for you to play, to do whatever you want. So basically when I was young, I grew up, I do learn some skills, so I use it even now, sometimes, not always. But I learn a lot from that.
Yeah. Was there anything like, is it how the ball bounces, and does it give you better touch?
No, you have to be careful, because you have to focus in the game 100% where the ball will bounce, because when you have a good feel, you know where the ball will bound. But when you have the feel like that, when your ball is bound, you have to look where the ball will pound exactly, because maybe it could be somewhere higher than drop there. But other skills, I prefer to use it my body more in that, because I used to do that with my body, fake movement, and that use it as skill.
You seem to be here, then everywhere, always at the right place at the right time. Maybe it's because you're just faster than 99% of all the other players.
Not really.
But is it something that's just natural to you, making the right runs, or have you studied other players to learn how to position yourself right?
I think I do both. I mean, I do study other players, as a striker, the great strikers before, and I do study the opponent. And I do watch the game, how they play, where they should be, where they move, how they move, and where I should be. Also, I see my games, the one, for example, I played last game, a game before, we do have time for that, so I do study myself, so I see if I could be in a better position than that. That's something helped me a lot, and also I follow the last thing to follow my intuitions.
So do you think as a pro it's also important to not just do things on the pitch, but also look back and learn
Has to be. You have to spend your time in the right way. So you have to study the team you will play against. You have to see where you should be and where you were in the position. I mean, so you have to learn from that.
One thing that a lot of people don't really know and don't really know how to get better at is how to get better at running through the defense on a through ball. So that's why you're here. You're gonna give a few tips.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm gonna give my tips to make it hard for the defender, and one of those things can be like, let's say, the ball is over there, and this is where we need to run deep. I try to be on the other side of the defender, which makes it harder for the defender to keep track of me, because he obviously needs to see the ball but see me at the same time. So if I'm, for example, coming from here, it's going to be harder for the defender to defend, and then I can make a run behind him or even come in between the defenders here.
So how close do you stay to the defender in terms of the actual offside line? Like, do you stay like a meter away, one step away, or do you stay like on the line at all times and just move with the line?
It depends actually, but if you stay on the line, I think maybe you have to give yourself a meter coming down. It can be just 1 meter, one step, to give yourself, some extra time. Make the defender come with you to then run in behind. So yeah, but the closer you are to the defenders or to the line, the better timing you need to have. So it's difficult.
Yeah, because there's a risk that they will push up just a little bit and then you're offside.
Yeah, and now also with the VAR, so you can have one toe offside and they're gonna see it. I try to give myself time and space to get up my speed, because if you're standing next to the defenders, sometimes it can be hard to get that speed you want, and you might end up offside.
What about like pace? When it comes to acceleration and pace as a striker running for a through ball, how important is it?
No, it's very important, but also it's not everything, because
I mean, the timing is important as well.
It's about making the right runs at the right time. So, I mean, there is players with a lot of pace that doesn't really use it in the best way. So I think you need to know how to run and when, and have that understanding with your teammates to use your pace in the best way possible.
All right, so last question here. So let's say you got the perfect ball from the teammate, you run through, now it's a one-on-one against the goalkeeper. What's the first thing that comes through your mind?
Score. I mean,
just
no. Depends. Sometimes you have a lot of time, and then maybe you need to see the goalkeeper, how far he has come out, or the angle you're coming from. When you come straight on, sometimes it's even better to chip it or to try to go past the goalkeeper. And then if you have an angle, then you might just place it on the side.
Speed is when you run fast with the ball, right? You're really good at that. But it's also about, spotting the gaps, the open spaces, and reacting, moving into those. Do you think that speed is also something that comes a lot from the mind?
Definitely, 100%. It's important, to be fast, to be quick, to be strong. But the most important is to be smart, to be clever. And I have all of that because not only by the experience, of course the football gives you a lot of experience, but of course they give you intelligent too. You being smart, you do it intelligent movements, you don't waste your energy in things that is not worth it. So it's good, I'm improving a lot. I think I am completely player, I'm not just good in one area. I think I'm good in everything. I'm completely player. I play good with the left, with the right, with the head, free kicks, I score goals, everything. So I'm working everything like a package.
One of the best goals I've ever seen, and it really highlights your long-range shooting, is that ridiculous goal you scored against Porto. Porto.
Against Porto,
yeah,
Champions League,
ridiculous
yes.
goal. I mean, 40-yard.
It was the goal of the year.
Can you explain to me, how is it possible to score from? How do you get so much power on the ball?
Well, it's the technique, of course, the power.
And the size.
It's not too bad. But I think it's. I love to shoot, to be honest. I love, and I believe a lot on my shoot. If you give me space and if I shoot, probably I'm gonna score goal. I don't know, not all the time, but the ball in 10-9 will be in a net. I believe in my shoot. If you give me space left and right, I will shoot and I will try to and I try to score a goal. But against Porto was an unbelievable goal. And it was an important goal as well.
Exactly.
And goal of the year.
Now, CR7 has embodied what Mercurial is all about ever since he wore the first model in 2002. And lacing up in the Superfly 7, he's now worn 13 generations of the fastest boot in the game. But even for a man who's won it all, the boot still gives him that special feeling.
I remember I used my first Mercurial with 16 years old. And the first time that when I saw the boots, I looked at the boots and I said, wow. And I started to play with the boots. And since that, the Nike improved every time the Mercurial. Of course, the aesthetics is unbelievable, it's important, but the most important is to feel comfortable. And these boots give you the opportunity for you to feel like, wow, look like I play with these boots 10 games already, and it's not, it's the first time. So it's good, I'm happy. The material is unbelievable. The plate, it's also different. And the aesthetic, it's always, Nike is always good.
So you heard it from the man, the Mercurial is wow. Cristiano, thank you so much, man. Pleasure.
Thank you, man.
Now, whenever I watch you play, right, it strikes me that you're a player who's good with both feet. You're comfortable on both feet. Do you think as a professional footballer in today's game, it's a must to not be completely one-footed?
I think it's an advantage for sure. If you can also hit it with your weak foot, the opponent never knows which side you're going to go on, instead of always having to use that one side where he can force you. So I think it's definitely a big advantage in today's game.
Now, you'll probably see that in a bit, but my left foot is pretty dead, both when I dribble and when I shoot. Is there a way you can train it other than just using it all the time?
I mean, start by using it, otherwise you can't train it, I think. but but for sure, it's just like you put effort into it. With everything else that you still learn, you can always start. I think it's never too late to start working on something, depending if it's your left foot, a new skill, you can always start, and one day maybe it will be as good as mine.
I really doubt it, man. Have you trained it, or is it just something that comes natural to you?
No, I did train it. When I was a kid, I was always playing with my dad. He always told me you need to use both feet. As I said, it's a big advantage for me now. Back in the day, I didn't understand it, but now I do, and I'm still working on it.
I read you used to be a sprinter in your young days. Now, of course, pace is important in today's game. But do you think it has helped you that much? I mean, Usain Bolt didn't exactly set the world on fire as a footballer.
Yeah, but he only sprinted.
That's true.
No, I think for sure it helps. Advantage to the defender when you have to get the ball deep. For sure. I mean, if you look at Kingsley, who is a bit faster than me, you can see why pace is important. And yeah, for me as well, to beat the opponent, to have an advantage and to go past.
But you also got to be clever, right? It's not only about the speed. You also got to know when to cut in and beat the defender.
I think timing is what you need to work on most, because by that, you will always beat someone.
People has always said that you're a very intelligent, level-headed player. We even saw you going from playing as a striker to a right wing back at one point. Not everyone would do that. You think growing as a football player also sometimes requires you to just get your head down and do what the team requires?
For sure, I think that's one of the most important things, to just work on the pitch wherever you are, to try to help the team. It helps when you can play different positions and not to be stuck on one. And I think if you put your head right, you can do it at any position.
Absolutely. So it's not just about going up there, being flashy, scoring goals.
Not always, but most of the time.
So do you need a bit of an ego to be a footballer?
You need to have confidence. I think that comes with everything. You need to have confidence to play at this level, and to beat your opponent, to do whatever it takes. So that confidence gives you the boost, gives you the energy, and then by that I think you're good to go.
Now you mentioned your dad who told you that to use your left foot right. What's the best piece of advice you've had as a footballer?
From him it was definitely that I always need to do more than the others.
That's a pretty solid advice. Guys, you heard the man Serge. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my friend.
We do that. Thomas Müller,
Thank
you
you.
taught me well.
You did.
Listen, my man, you've been scoring goals for as long as I can remember, right? And you're here, there, and everywhere. What is the secret to just finding space?
Yeah, you have to run a lot and search a lot, and have the right team members, with the ability to play the key passes. And you have to try and to run many times for nothing, maybe not for yourself. Maybe if you run, the defender has to come with you and you create some space. So never a run is silly. There are also silly runs, but most of the times I try to do clever ones.
I saw an interview once where you called yourself a Raumdeuter. It means,
Yes.
for English-speaking people, basically space interpreter.
Yeah.
So you interpret the space. Is it something that you consciously think about? Okay, I have to move over there. Just it does come
Of course, in football you need players with the ball, and also you need players without the ball. They make the runs, they make the right decisions. When you only have players, they want to receive the ball only in the foot, you will never be dangerous for the opponent's defense. So when you think about the game, about the game of football, and the offensive effort you have to do, then you need both sides.
Mm-hmm. So myself, I'm maybe a little bit too old to become the next Thomas Müller. But
Yeah,
if there are
maybe.
if there are any young kids,
But
out
you have a very nice haircut. So
Thank you.
For your
So
age, you look
as well,
brilliant.
you as well,
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. That's, but anyways, if there are any young kids out there watching, right, who want to become the next space interpreter out there, what kind of advice can you give them? How to spot the holes in the defense, and without just making runs all the time?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you have to. There are some key situations when the ball is maybe on the left side and the pass goes back, because it's not possible to dribble on the left side. The pass goes back, so the defense will go out 1 or 2 steps. It's always a signal. When this guy receives the ball, then he can chip it diagonal, or it's nothing special. But sometimes you have to suffer a lot and to go to the right spots, and you have to think first and go in the space before the ball is there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's maybe the key point.
Does it help to watch a lot of football highlights?
Yeah,
to
of
see how
course.
players move?
It helps a lot to watch the best strikers or offensive players in the world. Every good striker has good movements into the depth, and so it's not a big secret.
Have you ever come across defenders where every time they see you, they're like, not this guy again?
They do not this action, but they think about it, because it's easier to defend a guy who always comes to the ball, because then the striker is in front of them. They can see him, they can defend him. But when you always have a guy that's in your back, you always have to turn and you don't want to give up your offside line. And so you have to play with this situation that the defender has to make decisions. When the decision is easy for the defender, then you are easy to defend. But when the defender has to think, oh, should I go right or left, or should I stay, or should I better go home? Then you do a great job.
Right. So you have a great job, right? You wake up every morning, you go play football. What's that like?
Yeah, but it's not like you say you play football. It's also hard work. You ask our fitness guys when they make the plan in the morning. Of course, football is the most beautiful game in the world, but there are also days you have to work hard and. For example, in the real matches in the league or Champions League, you have to sweat.
You have been wearing the Adidas speed boots for again as long as I can remember. Scoring goals, wearing speed boots. F50 Adi0, now the X.
Yes.
Why is this the boot for you?
Yeah, because Adidas give me this boot and they say good luck.
That's all it takes.
That's all it takes, and you see it works. They do a great job. I'm always comfortable with the shoes. There are some other players maybe they always have to make changes with the shoes, and but for me the Adidas shoe always fits. Of course, they are special. They are
Camouflage.
They camouflage. Maybe now the defender
It's easier.
didn't even see me.
Where's Wale?
So maybe I don't have to run.
This is the Thomas Müller
Maybe
master
I stay in offside and the referee does not see me.
And that concludes it, my friends. 30 tips for attackers and wingers in 30 minutes from 8 different pro players. But which position should we do next? Let us know in the comment section right down below. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure you do that with the notifications on. And if you want to keep learning football skills, hit the playlist in the bottom left corner. And with those words, I'll be signing off. Cheerio.